What's going on? I'm Nathan. I'm 22, currently an Amazon area manager. Just graduated from college. I went to Case Western, was a business management student, played tennis, table tennis, and honestly, here for a good time, here for the vibes. So let's get it, right? So I played Mole, Ohio twice. I have played Columbus Big Brother and Columbus Survivor. I've also played my fair share of orgs as well, primarily Fight or Flight Show. But that's my resume. I won't give any spoilers, but I would say if you want to see me in action, I would check out the Mole, Ohio, because that's on YouTube. It's a fun ride. And, like I said, no spoilers. I like to keep them guessing. That's a good one. I would say I've always been primarily a Survivor guy. However, I would say the Mole format does interest me the most because I think it's the most niche. But I think Survivor, there's so many different opportunities to advance and the strategies are endless, right? So I think I'm excited to get into that for sure. I would say, I think the classic favorite has got to be Kagiyan. Tony's incredible. So many great characters on that season. Cass, of course. But I'd say to keep it a little bit more interesting, I really like Vanuatu a lot. Amy's an incredible character, Twilight Scout, of course, and then you have Chris's run too. I think it's a very underrated season. I also really like Fiji a lot. I think the Edgardo Blindside is one of the most underrated episodes of all time in Survivor, so love that a lot. But I guess if there's any player I would like to emulate, I really have a lot of respect for Hayden Moss. He's a guy that never gave up, goes in guns blazing, you know what I'm saying? So he'll fight to the end, and that's kind of what I want to carry into the game. I would say I'm known for a little bit of villainy, a little bit of chaos, you know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
But I think it has to be at the right moments, right? I think I'm definitely going to bring the entertainment. Gotta be, of course, we've got to make it look good, right?
Nathan told me that Matt didn't get the best spell passes.
That's fine.
Hey, I'm just saying.
That's fine.
Just so you know.
He's sketchy.
But I would say my strategy overall is going to be rooted in gathering enough social capital, making sure that I'm integrated well, but it's going to be using that at the right time for sure. I think timing is very not, I would say it's talked about, but it should be talked about more. I think something like adaptability is going to be mostly talked about, but I think timing is going to be the name of my game for sure. I think that if I had to hazard a guess, there's going to be niche twists. I wouldn't say, maybe not niche, but I would say new twists and twists that the players are going to have to react to and be ready for, of course, right? So at any moment in the game, I need to make sure that I can be ready for a swap or different advantages going into the game. It just honestly just has to be that on the fly, quick adaptability that's going to get me ahead. And a lot of the time, people want to just be out in front all the time, and that might be a problem with me that I want to make sure I'm working on is that threat management. And if there is going to be a time where, let's say, people are pulled out, they're stranded, never know, right? Got to make sure that if there's any situation popping up, I'm ready for it. Actually, this is the first time hearing it. Sorry, I'm a little out the date. No, I'm just playing. It kind of reminds me of like season 41, coming back. Oh, the monster is going to get you. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I feel like nowhere to hide. Really, there's almost like nowhere to hide ever in Survivor because, unless you have immunity or whatever, but it just I have to be ready for anything. And I'm not going to try and predict and be 3,000 IQ out here, you know what I'm saying? Because then I'm gonna overplay my hand out of the game. So I think I'm gonna come in open-minded, I'm gonna come in fresh, and I'm not gonna overplay my hand, hopefully. We'll see. I think let's start with weaknesses because I think those are easier for me to say off the bat because I just have them. I would say threat management is really tough. I'm young, I'm a taller guy, so it's hard for me to hide, right? So I'm very visible, right? I would say that you're not gonna not see me in the game. So it's how can I be invisible while being visible is the thing. Let's make a Big Brother reference. Obviously, I love to cite Dr. Will with his, target so big it's actually invisible. So that's a way that I could go about it. But also there's more like a Xander way to go about it, where you're, supposedly a threat, but actually had no equity in the end. Definitely we don't want that. Come on. But I don't know. I really think that's probably going to be my biggest weakness. I also think in the past I've misplayed advantage in Survivor Columbus. That's what took me out of the game, is I misplayed an advantage. So it's playing those at the right time too. Shout out Survivor 46. Don't want to not play an idol. So that's in my mind as well. I'm sure that should be in the player's mind as well. But
Gotcha.
I'll move on to strengths here. I would say I'm very patient. So I know that timing should be my greatest asset, and when to make the big move if there is one on the table. I'm not going to make a big move just to make a big move, even though that is flashy, and that could be a part of my game. That could be a flex, you know what I'm saying? But I think it is on the table. I would say that my strategy as well is very top tier, I would say. Knowing what moves to make at the right time, who to align, I should be good in that front. I would say looking forward to, but I would say that I've been a summer camp counselor for 4 summers. This is nothing new to me. I've been up, almost 24 hours at some points, working with kids and stuff like that. So I'm working with bigger kids now, you know what I'm saying? Trying to move throughout a game. And I think it's going to be in my wheelhouse. I should have no problem with the survive aspect of the game. I would say it's maybe revisiting some of the notions or thought processes I had in other games and where my mindset was at there and what helped me succeed. So reflecting on that and then utilizing what was good and what wasn't. But also I would say that, and that's a good reminder, because I think that I should be practicing puzzles. I think that should be what is pertinent at the moment, because you can't really prep for, seeing people or whatever. Can't really predict that. You kind of have to do that on the fly and use your social game, etc. Something like puzzles, you can really study and master. I love puzzles, and I know with me, during that end game, it's going to get rough. So if I can, get close and win out towards the end, that might be a valid option for me. So, and it may come down to a few puzzles, right? So if I can maybe practice a few puzzles, I definitely plan to do that. Ooh, it's a tough one. I would say that option 1 is you try and work some sort of relationship there. Ideally, I have relationships with everyone at that point and I could really make it work. But let's say, I'll take your instance, right? She's not in my alliance. At that point, it obviously would depend on where I'm at in the game, but let's say it's like final 7-6. At that point, I might just make it public and just play it to get it out of my hand, because I'm not going to go home with an idol and I kind of just want to get that target off my back. But if I can make it public, maybe stretch it for one more round, that's also a possibility, but then it gets to dangerous waters too. So at that point, it might just have to be I go on a run too. So, there's a few different options there, but that is definitely not ideal. I would not get myself in that scenario. If I find an idol, it's going to be private. Come on, what are we saying? I mean, obviously, once again, it's going to depend on where we're at in the game. However, I gotta shout out Sandra. At some point, it gotta be anybody but me, of course. As long as it's not me, I'm chill. But it does come down to what my forward path is gonna look like. What's my agency looking like at that point? If I can move forward without Susie, then I can make something work. However, if it is truly my number 1 ally, I feel like I should be able to pull some strings and switch it up. So it's tough, but I would say if I need to cut anyone loose at any point, I will do it. It really depends on who it is at that point. But, I keep saying depends. I'm going to stick with an answer and I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm going to cut them loose if the scenario comes to it. You know what I'm saying? I'll do whatever it takes to win. And I'm coming for blood. It's going to be a bloodbath. I'll tell you that. Let's go. Fun confessionals, fun vibes, good vibes, but some chaos, some villainry. I feel like I'm a good villain, but I'm a fun villain. You know, we keep it fun, right? So it's gonna be a good time. Should be a long time, and I'm going for the win. You're looking at the winner right here. Let's go.
Oh.
Hard to spoil it. My bad.
So, will Nathan survive being stranded? Only time will tell.
Find out on the next episode.